Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for round 8 of the manufacturer series again. Let's get this started. Your first braking point is just after you pass the 150 meter mark. Brake as much as you can in a straight line. Slowly ease off the brakes as you turn in, and don't go past the red and white curbs. Gently start to accelerate. In between the 150 meter marks, there's a little orange marker that you can use as your brake marker. Brake hard for a moment, quickly ease off of the brakes, then gently start to accelerate. Once again, don't go past the red and white curbs. Then ease off the throttle for this turn, just try to bring yourself all the way in before you start to fully accelerate, and then brake before you reach the 50 meter mark. You want to try to get as close as you can to the apex, so towards the red and white curbs. Get the car to quickly rotate by easing off of the brakes and throttle, and once the car is pointing where you want to go, gently start to accelerate. You'll be braking hard for a moment just after the new sector starts. So you'll be braking around here, brake hard for a moment, quickly ease off of the brakes to get the car to rotate. Just try not to get on the grass as that will slow you down. Brake when the curb on the left ends. Don't get on the green area that is on the right. Then when the curb on the left ends, you want to go a little bit wide. Then control your braking just to try to get a late apex before you start to accelerate. You'll be repeating what you just did on the last turn for this turn as well, except you'll start to brake before you pass this thin white line that is on the left. Just go nice and wide, try to go for a very late apex, straighten up the car, and then start to fully accelerate. We'll go ahead and finish this lap, but other than that, that is all for this lap guide. Let's go ahead and talk about the strategies. For the qualifying session, you have 5 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time. You do have to be a bit more careful with your tires since the tire wear is pretty high, so on your outlap, you just want to try to navigate to this course a little bit slower than usual. That way you don't get any excessive tire wear of any sort, so you can have the best tires when you start your qualifying laps. And because we do have a long straight here, slipstream is going to play a key role in trying to get a good qualifying time. So before you start your first qualifying lap, you want to try to make sure that you're behind someone and within that 1.5 second gap so you don't end up bumping into them during the flying laps. So before the first qualifying lap starts, just make sure you're behind someone within 1.5 second gap again. That way when you end it, you should have a noticeably better time. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for the qualifying strategy. That's pretty much all that there is to it. And with the 5-minute qualifying session time, you'll have enough time to do 2 flying laps. For the race strategy, there are 3 possible strategies, and 2 of them are variants of one strategy. So the first 2 involves a one stop. The only difference is the tires that you want to start on. If you are starting at the very front, you can start on racing soft tires to try to get away from the rest of the pack, and keyword is try. You do have a giant long straight, so it is possible for those on the racing medium tires to keep up with you. The only question is, how long can they keep up with you? The faster that you can break away from them, so past that 1.5 second gap, then the better off you'll be. However, because you are starting on racing soft tires, you will eventually have to change on over to the racing medium tires, and these tires, they're not going to get you the best times, but because you have used a noticeable amount of fuel, the car is going to be a bit lighter when you start your racing medium stint, so your times are going to be a bit similar to your first stint on the racing soft tires. And of course, if you have the slipstream, then your times are going to be a little bit faster. And the other strategy, whether you're starting in the front or anywhere else that is not the front, you can start on the racing medium tires so you can get those out of the way and save the softest tire compound for the very end of for the second half of the race. If you do start on the racing medium tires and you're near the front and are able to keep up with the front of the pack who are using the racing medium tires, it will make your life a little bit easier when you switch on over to the racing soft tires, as obviously you're going to be getting faster times. The substitution will help you out a little bit, and the lighter car will help your car accelerate a little bit faster. And of course, because you're on the racing soft tires and they're more likely to be on the racing medium tires, you're going to have a bit of an advantage over them, especially when you go through this third sector over here. And I've mentioned about fuel a couple of times, and if you haven't noticed, fuel is not going to be an issue at all. Rather, you're going to have too much fuel, so you want to try to burn it off. You can try burning it off when you're going through that starting sequence, so just press and hold down on the throttle and you'll burn off a bit of fuel before the race even starts. So for this strategy, the one stop, whether you're starting on the racing soft or medium tires, you want to have one of your stints be 7 laps. So you can either have the racing soft or the racing medium tires last 7 laps. So unless if you're in a car that is gentle on its tires, like the Toyota 86, the Megane Trophy, and the Alfa Romeo 4C, you want to be using your racing soft tires for 6 laps and then your racing medium tires for 7 laps. In this clip, I did use the racing soft tires for 7 laps and the car was getting pretty sketchy, so I wouldn't suggest doing that for 7 laps unless if you're really good at tire saving. As of the recording of this video, the one stop is looking like it'll be the faster strategy than the 2 stop. And the thing is that with the 2 stop, even though you can do 12 laps total on the racing soft tires, the additional time at the pit stop is going to kill that momentum, so you're going to end up being a bit further behind than those on the one stop. So to sum things up, you're going to have much more fuel than what you need, so you want to try to burn it off by revving up the car at the starting sequence or just revving it up as much as you can during the race itself. The one stop is looking like it's the fastest strategy, so don't worry about the 2 stop. If you're starting anywhere that is not the front, you can start on racing medium tires, so you can get on over to the faster tire compound for the second half of the race. But if you're starting in the front, you can start on the racing soft tires just to try to build that gap early on in the race. And for most cars, racing soft tires can last up to 7 laps, but at the 7th lap, that's when the tires start getting really sketchy. But that is pretty much it for this guide. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.